No order?
AJ's here.
You coming in? AJ will be up here in just a second. All right, minutes. Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes? Any,
I did.
okay. Get a motion on the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
I'll second.
All right, got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Okay, motion passes. Minutes approved. Moving on to the first item of business. ZV 25-10144 Circle, Brunswick. Considering a request for variance to Glenn County zoning ordinance section 701 to allow encroachments to the front yard setback for proposed front porch renovation. Property is zoned R9, one family residential district, and located at 144 Circle, Brunswick, Georgia. Parcel 03-04473, Monica Robinson, applicant and owner. I hear from the staff, please.
Good morning, Nisi Carroll, Glenn County Planning and Zoning. The applicant is requesting a variance to the Glenn County zoning ordinance section 701 to renovate the front porch, which is existing and is in violation of the front yard setback. The site is in the R9 one family residential zoning district where the front yard setback is 20 feet. The home has an existing intrusion into the setbacks. According to Q Public, the home was constructed in 1958, which would make it a legal conforming structure. The front porch intrudes into the 20-foot front setback by 5 feet. It was added to the house in November of 2024 without a permit and is in violation of both the zoning and building codes. Application was made December 2024 with the Building Inspections Department. Here is the zoning map. Here is a current picture. Here's the survey. Here are more pictures. Staff does not recommend approval due to a self-imposed hardship.
Okay. I have a lot of questions in. So it was, so there,
What's the
go ahead.
addition?
It's the front porch.
I thought they wanted to make addition, didn't you say you wanted to make addition to the front porch?
So this is current, this was built without a permit.
Right,
So
yeah.
they want to bring it,
Oh, bring it into compliance,
yes.
so they're not adding anything to that.
So I'll defer that to Dave and John.
Good morning, Dave Carver, building official. This was already built without a permit. It is in the front setback and the side setback. The building itself does not meet building code, and I've had several contractors out there to offer a estimate on what it would take to bring it into compliance with the building department. But we're not going to issue a permit until the encroachment into the setbacks are resolved.
Gotcha.
Is it,
If you look at the survey is mirrored. So the encroachment is on if you're facing the house on the left side, the survey shows it on the right side. All the numbers are correct, but the surveyor mirrored the image.
Oh, you got Mr. Cohen.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that, I actually, when I rode by and looked at it, I kind of, looking at it, it looked, yeah, it didn't, something didn't jive, so that explains it.
so is it the stairs and the ramp that's out,
So,
or that's in the
The
setback?
majority of the stairs are, all the stairs and the majority of the ramp. And then the left side, if you're looking at it, probably encroaches 6 inches?
Yeah, allows for the house.
Yes.
And the house is.
Now, the house is already existing, grandfathered in before the ordinance. They would just have to get a administrative variance, which they would do in the office for the house. But if they would have applied for a permit, then we would have caught that, and they would have had to apply for the administrative variance first, and we would not have allowed the porch and the ramp to penetrate, to encroach on the front setback. So there was no
Okay.
permit applied for. The homeowner just did it, so that's why she's in this position.
okay.
Where's, I see what the problems are with the setbacks. What's the problem with the construction?
Pretty much everything, except for maybe the deck boards. Strapping, clipping, supporting of the rafters. If you look at the right side of the house, the band at the house under that gable is just nailed to the structure, and then we're hanging rafters on it.
And how about
No
the,
strapping, no clips, nails, no screws, no bolts, no footing,
that's what I was gonna ask.
okay? Just,
I mean,
anything
look,
could be
just-
wrong with it, it's wrong with it.
Just look, I mean, from.
And I don't even know if the lumber is ground contact. It is pressure treated, but there's no tags. I can't tell if it's ground contact lumber as well, so it's gonna rot quickly.
Yeah.
Well, the footing was my main concern.
Yeah. So,
One of them.
Well, that was, when I rode by and looked at it and looking at the pictures, and I saw in the packet the things that were suggested to be done, I think it's gonna be cheaper just to tear it down and start over than to try to repair, especially since there's a footing issue.
yes. If it's attached to the house in our high wind zone, it must have a continuous footing.
Agreed.
Or has to be designed by a design professional, either a licensed architect or engineer for pier footings.
Okay. All right. That's all I have. Thank you, sir. I have brought it up before, and I will continue to say it, just my view on surveys need to be a actual survey, not anything hand-drawn. That's just my opinion of how I feel about, I'm not comfortable voting somebody for something with a survey that is not an actual submitted survey. Case in point, where we've got numbers inverted here, that makes it difficult for us to make a accurate decision, so.
Come down.
Yeah, that's Mr. Codenine. It's time for him to retire.
So, that's all anybody have anything else for staff?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to the next portion. Is there someone here, applicant, we can hear from the applicant? If you would please just step to the podium, state your name for the record, and
He knows.
Hi, I'm Monica Robinson. I own the house. And I wrote some things down because I've never done any public speaking, and so I just wanted to read it. I'm sorry I had the porch built last November by a Woodstock, Georgia contractor who told me I didn't need a permit. I wish I could go back in time and change it, but I can't. I spent $15,000 on the porch initially because I wanted to make the house nicer. I don't believe the people in the neighborhood are opposed to my porch because two of them came by while we were building and showed me a thumbs up. Also, my neighbor, Tracy Pittman, she's sitting right over there, approves of it. There are a few houses on the street that need work, and they attribute to the slummy look of the neighborhood. After the county gave me a list to follow of what needed to be done to the porch, I thought it was a good idea to have them meet with the contractors on the site to clarify. What is sued is more than initial list was added to be done, and the contractors are saying the porch needed a complete do-over. I spoke with Dave Carver a few times, and he said work would be done, or could be done below the shingles, and roof would not need to be torn up, and other work could be done from underneath the porch. I'm asking to allow encroachments to set back and minimal modifications so as not to destroy porch and start over. It's sturdy and enjoyable as it is, but I understand some changes will need to be made. I do not live here, but I come here a lot and enjoy staying at my furnished house here, and the front porch with the rocking chairs and swing make it so much nicer when visiting. Please consider a minimal renovation to this very nice porch, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to keep this porch.
okay. So we're only talking about, so there's a couple things here, and to your point about what Mr. Carver had said about repairing, it could be done in pieces. Three of us up here are contractors, and for the last several years, the bulk of my work has been renovations. In a lot of cases, it is faster and cheaper just to tear down and start over. So just from a financial standpoint, that may be a better solution, but that's your choice.
Well, I was given an estimate of 15 to 25,000
To-
to start over.
Well, the only thing in our purview is the ramp and the steps.
Is that, you know, obviously the building department is there from a safety standpoint, but what I'm getting at is with the, so we're, in our, what we're looking at here is the encroachments. So we've got a 6-inch encroachment on the left-hand end and a 5-foot encroachment on the front. An option for that, if the ramp and steps were all taken off and put on the right-hand end, with the amount of work that's got to be done, realistically, I think, you know, move the ramp and the steps to the right-hand end, you've got plenty of room on that side to run them down the side of the house. And when they're redoing footers and everything else, they could easily take 6 inches off of that left end to bring it within compliance. As staff mentioned earlier, the house itself it's grandfathered in, so that's just an administrative, that's not an issue. Then that would correct the encroachments, and then you could choose however you want to deal with, you know, repairs to satisfy the building department. Is putting the ramp and steps on the right-hand end an option for you? I mean, there appears to be a lot of room, you know, according to this, you've got 18, excuse me, 18.4 feet. When I rode by and looked at it,
Yeah.
I know there's a big tree there, but it looks like there was still plenty of room to,
Yeah, I was trying to cover up the cement steps that were already right there in front of the house. It was just a little teeny tiny entrance. And that's why I told the contractor, oh, just cover it up so we don't have to break it up. And that's why.
is that underneath the porch though?
It is.
So that would, I mean, you could still, put skirting or something in the front of the porch to cover that, but by moving the steps and the ramp to the right-hand end, you could run the ramp, alongside of the house, then that removes the encroachments and no variance is required here and remove 6 inches off that left-hand end. If you'd like to say, he's got to get under there to put footings in anyway, it's not a big deal to cut 6 inches off of those band boards and
But if nobody cares that the ramp and the porch are where it is right now in the neighborhood, why won't you allow me to keep it there?
Well, the rules and ordinances are there for a reason, and I've said it before, and I'll go to my grave saying that ignorance of the rules and ordinances are not an excuse for me. They're put there for a reason to protect everybody, because what happens is if we approve this just because it's there, the neighbor across the street's gonna come back and say, well, you let them do it, why can't I do it? So we have to look at everything as a whole, and then we try to look at each job individually and assess them individually. But we also have to consider why we're approving it. This hardship was self-imposed. It was not something out of your control you're not in this situation by someone else's choice. You're in this situation by a choice you made. And that's a self-imposed hardship, and that weighs heavily with us, or at least myself, and my colleagues can speak for themselves, but does anybody else have any other?
I got that, yeah. This is just a one workaround. If an event, we ran into this same situation at Village Oaks, we had no room for the steps. So we did a pavered step, which is not a permanent structure. Would that, if the ramps and the steps were removed and she did some pavered steps, would that pacify the county? Because that does encroach into setback, but it's not a permanent structure. Because that did work in Village Oaks.
You talking about building it up with dirt and running pavers down?
Or just,
That's still encroaching.
Yeah, but
Any elevation within the 20-foot setback is considered a violation regardless of whether it's dirt, concrete, wood, or any other.
Yeah, but you can pour concrete to the property line. You can pour concrete to the property line.
Not elevated concrete.
Right,
Concrete on grade.
Yeah,
Anything elevated must meet setbacks. All right, so you've offered some solutions. Put the stairs on the side, she can cut out part of the front deck and recess the stairs if she needs to.
yeah.
I don't know that I have heartburn with the 6 inches since these lines of the house. Myself, I don't know about anybody else.
And you still got the issue of the 6 inches on the left side of the house. You can approve that.
Yeah.
I'm
You can
fine with
approve
that. I mean, that was, they
And
went.
have removed the stairs.
Existing house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might be,
I'd be okay. And how many steps are there?
3 or 4?
3 steps?
yeah.
So,
4
you know,
steps?
we're-
So it's gonna come out 4 feet. So that's gonna put you, 1 foot into the 20-foot setback, wouldn't it?
If you come out the front, that's, you put the steps off the end, and it's
Yeah.
a moot point.
Get there.
Yeah, there's room to run the ramp down the right side of the house.
3 steps plus the deck.
We got 3 risers there.
Yeah.
So we're coming out about, just under 3 feet. 11-inch treads, huh?
There's 4 risers.
Yeah,
Four
count- count-
risers,
If
sorry,
you
4
include the
risers.
deck.
So it'd be 4 feet.
This is the area here where it has that 18.
Right, yeah, the actually
That's
18 and a half
18.
feet on this side, and then the other end, those were, numbers were just reversed.
And I would be willing to compromise.
Probably coming out about
We don't have a
4 inches.
motion, but I would be willing to compromise if she took the landing off and the ramp and just put the steps, and then she's only encroaching less than 12 inches into the setback, being the neighbors don't have any opposition, nobody's in opposition of it. Okay, well, let's hear some opposition.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay. So,
What about the left side of the house?
Please, hey, step to the podium, please, and state your name for the record.
Yeah, on the left-hand side of the house,
Where you
State,
got to see
state-
your-
state your name, please, for the
I'm
record.
sorry, Peter
State-
Peter Robinson.
Okay, thank you.
I'm a contractor in Georgia and live in this town. I think I know some of you gentlemen. The left-hand side of the house, it's 6 inches.
Right.
And
And
it's 6 inches.
And that's where we're, my colleague mentioned that we're, potentially willing to accept that, but, the
Okay.
bigger encroachment is in the front.
Right. I can
We're-
agree with,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're not trying to be,
I know.
hardtails up here. We
But
want to
the-
come to a solution that works for everybody.
That seems like very reasonable to me. If we don't have to, shrink that down, make it look better too,
Are you related to her, or?
No, no, I don't have an N in my last name,
Don't what?
no N. It's Robinson.
Ah, gotcha.
Oh, I see.
Okay, gotcha.
That's Robinson.
Okay,
Common mistake.
all right. So, anybody else, or is there any, if you would, come back up to the. So is it possible for you, to put the steps and the ramp on the right-hand end?
I think that would work.
Because if we still did, Jude mentioned putting the steps on the front, we're still in the setback.
There's a tree, but I still think it would work. Wouldn't look as nice.
I agree with, dressing up the neighborhood or whatever, or anything anybody does to improve, I'm certainly, on board for sure, but I still have a big hang up with the without permit thing.
I'm sorry.
And it's, that's not you, the contractor that built it should have known. And it's unfortunate.
Does it
But-
not need a handrail?
No, I don't think it's high enough, less 32 inches. It didn't appear to be.
so if they use the porch as the first step, they're only gonna have 3 steps coming out. The 3 steps would be within the setback. They would fit, because you're only coming out 3 feet.
Just
Right.
to give you, just for the knowledge, it was a handyman. It was not even a licensed contractor.
Okay, all right, thank you.
But wouldn't that be correct? If they use the sticks, you'll have 4 risers, but 3 of them will be extended from the, where's the survey at again?
That's what I was
You got
looking at, see.
18 inches before you get to the setback.
So that's,
17.
so it's basically 3 feet.
That's what you have.
So you're gonna be 1.5 feet into it. You're 21.6 from the front to the front of the porch.
So if we take the whole, right, yes, yeah, the whole porch is encroaching now.
I have some more pictures on my phone if you'd like to see them.
Now, we're just trying to do
21 and
some
a half
math.
feet.
So you're 21,
You'd be about 16 inches with the 3 steps.
yeah,
Yeah.
at least that into
I
it.
thought that would-
I would be willing to compromise on the 6 inches on the end if everything on the front goes away and moves to the end with the
Pacifying the building permit.
attachment that the building department is. But, I mean, we still got some more people to hear from, but that would be an option.
Is the handicap ramp necessary?
I'm sorry?
Is the handicap ramp necessary?
No, but it's just convenient to move furniture, roll things up
Okay.
for dogs, senior dogs. Super handy.
Okay.
All right, I think, anybody else got any questions for applicant? Okay, thank you. All right, moving on, so now we'll open up the floor for public comment. Anyone to speak for or against? Please step to the podium and state your name and.
Morning, I'm Al Verheyen. I own 135 Forest Circle right across the street. And my problem isn't with the porch, it's with the process. In 2020, I decided I was going to build a 4-bay garage on my property. And I didn't know exactly what I needed to do, but I knew I needed a permit. And Mr. Woodman, you made the point. Ignorance is not an excuse. I knew enough to come over and talk with the county and research what I needed. I knew enough to take the plat that was drawn by a professional surveyor and make sure that I talked to my neighbor, make sure I was off the setback on the side of where the garage, this one side of the garage. So I made sure I stayed within the setbacks, I followed the procedures, I got the permit, I went through the steps of having it inspected in each step, which takes longer, right? Takes longer to construct. But it's a necessary thing that we have to do to do the ordinances. So that's my only concern is if you allow this to go, and I know it's more than just a setback, right? There's the permit issue that's separate from this. But if all this is allowed to happen completely just washed away, then what's to stop me next time I need something done to just go ahead and do it and then ask for forgiveness? That's my point. Thanks.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'm Elizabeth. I'm Albert Verheyen's wife. I'm also co-owner of that house. I'm also the mother of my son Campbell Busby, who lives in the house. We were a little surprised to not see, because we know when you're building something, you need to see a sign in the yard. But we've had one problem after another with this property, and you don't need to deliberate neighbor issues. We've had to call police, we've had all kinds of problems with tenants that she has in and out of the house. But on top of that, you put a sign in the yard regarding this hearing. She took that sign out of the yard. We called, they put a new sign back in. So even if there were going to be neighbors that wanted to complain about this, they may have not seen it during that time that they took the sign out of the yard. No.
Let's keep this about the.
So the sign did go missing. And the other thing is that our understanding is she owns multiple rental properties. As another owner of multiple houses, it's very hard to understand that she wouldn't know that this would be the process. And when I had to watch that being built, we saw so much drama and craziness where we were worried. There were several times I'd sit there and literally just watch. The man was very nice, but what was happening was putting people, himself and his girlfriend especially, at risk at different times. And I just really think that the process is what needs to be, as my husband said, if she's allowed to just do whatever and then come back and ask for permission after the fact, that sets a very bad precedent for the neighborhood. There's things with our own property that, you know, we were forced to combine 3 properties into one so that we could build the garage we built. We wouldn't have chosen that. We wouldn't have, you know, there's certain things. So if policies are policies, they need to be policies and things need to be built safe, and that's just what my comment is.
All right.
Thank you.
Cool, thank you. Okay, anyone else, public comment section? All right.
Hi, I'm Tracy Pittman, and I live in the area. I don't live on Forest Drive, I live the next street over. And I understand, and she's asking for forgiveness that, you know, she didn't get the permit. I don't know the permit, I now know. But for me, living in that area and seeing the drugs that's coming through there, having problems with people not taking care of their properties, they do. But they have to go through an eyesore before they get to their home. If she can move the stairs, and if you will allow the 6-inch, it does bring value to the property and to the other homeowners around. But again, I understand the permit, but it also, for my sake, it makes my house go up in value a little bit, having the nicer homes around my area. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, anyone else for or against? All right, hearing none, we'll close the public comment section, open it up to discussion to the board. Gentlemen, you have any other discussion, or?
I'll make a motion, we make, to move to approve ZV 25-10 with the following conditions. And what I'd like to get out of it is we leave the 6 inches. 6 inches is okay, but remove the ramp instead. Relocate, bring them into compliance. However that needs to be worded.
I would,
By the county.
I would add the condition, that the building department is completely satisfied.
Oh, yeah, well, I didn't realize that was part of our purview, but that'd be fine. That's the best way to word that.
So to be clear, you're approving with the condition of removing the ramp.
Removing the ramp and the stairs from the front,
And stairs, okay.
or moving it, just deleting it from the front.
So out of the front yard setback.
Out of the front, yeah.
And approved in the 6 inch, it aligns with the existing house. It's grandfathered in.
Okay. There'll be evidence for it.
And then,
The front. Okay.
so the actual, just so we're all clear on the same page and for the record, so the motion is to approve ZV 25-10 for just the 6-inch encroachment on the left-hand end. And do we need to add the condition that the building department is satisfied, or is that a?
And/or is the county okay
I don't
with,
think you'd have to worry about that because if she applies for the permit, if she does not demo the porch, it's going to have to meet compliance.
Okay,
So the stairs will definitely meet compliance. We do not look at ramps on residential properties because they're constrained to space sometimes. They cannot be in the setbacks, but we will not look at the structure of the ramp. Only on commercial properties we look at the ramps.
okay,
But the stairs will have to meet strict building codes along with the porch, which will be enforced on the permit.
okay. I thought so, but I just wanted to make sure we had you guys covered as well, so. All right, so now, I guess, again, to clarify, we're approving ZV 25-10 for the 6-inch encroachment on the left-hand end only.
and denying the front setback?
Denying the ramp and the steps in front.
Yeah, well, just by approving that, it negates everything. All right, so we have a motion on the floor to approve just the 6-inch encroachment on the left-hand end only. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor? Opposed? Oh, sorry.
Before you do that, I just had I thought you were going to ask if we had any discussion. I have a question.
Sure.
Can you,
I guess we,
if you can hold on that, vote for a second?
yeah, do we need to rescind that or just discuss and then we can revote?
Sure.
Because we didn't complete the vote, so.
You just have a question, or you want?
Well, it's a process question, yes. And
Okay.
You threw me for a second when you,
Sorry. My
I
apologies.
thought we were here, because of the front yard setback.
Front and side.
It does not say that here. That's what I was reading, and you went by it. So right here in the front, when we're talking about ZV 25-10-140, I mean, that's 140, different address. ZV 25-10, what, to allow encroachment to the front yard setback for a proposed front porch renovation. So that's what it says right there. So I was just gonna ask, so what we're doing is we're voting on something, we're approving something that's not there.
It was,
So
all right, I'm looking
so I
through
just
here, but
wanted
it
to
was,
ask
it
that for
was,
the clarification.
it was verbally announced in the beginning. But I was
I
just
do,
looking to see
I
if it was in
understand.
there.
I just wanted to make sure, because when we're saying we're approving that, well, it's not what's on here. So I just want to make sure
Gotcha.
before I vote.
We put the verbiage in the motion.
Yeah, that's a good catch, that it was not actually in there for the,
So I don't know how we deal with the setback.
Yeah,
because
no,
it's-
Mr. Minatelli.
Yes, sir.
Yes, no, I can contact the county attorney's office for future reference, but I professionally don't believe that would mean you can't now vote on this. But I'll get clarification from the county attorney's office.
All right, I'm not trying to slow the process down. I just want to make sure we did what was right,
Yeah,
and
no,
if
no.
something doesn't get
Sure, yeah,
overturned.
no, that's
Yeah,
a totally
agreed.
reasonable
I missed
question.
that.
I'll get back to you as quickly as possible with that answer.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, then you
okay,
go
so,
with what you said.
all right, so we'll go back, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve ZV 25-10, only the 6-inch encroachment on the left-hand end of the porch. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, so the motion carries.
Thank you.
So, found a compromise there, obviously, you'll have to get with Mr. Carver's office and satisfy them, so. And then the steps, everything on the front will have to relocate somewhere else to be within compliance. All right, thank you. Moving on. All right, second item of business, ZV 25-12, 3030 Scarlet Street parking variance. Consider a request for variance to section 611 zoning ordinance to allow for the property's existing parking spaces to serve as the required parking for 126 residential units. Property is located at 3030 Scarlet, parcel 03-03655, and is zoned high residential HR. Mark McWana, hope I said that right, Brunswick Scarlet Street LLC owner. We'll hear from staff, please.
Maurice Postal, Planning and Zoning. The applicant's requesting a variance to the zoning ordinances, section 611, to allow for the property's existing spaces to serve as the required spaces for 126 proposed residential units. According to 611, 126 residential units in HR zoning would require 252 parking spaces. The zoning ordinance in general requires 2 spaces for any dwelling unit. The existing property has 139 parking spaces. 139 parking spaces for 126 units would mean 1.1 parking spaces per unit, which, by the way, is the requirement for a hotel of this size. The applicant is planning on renovating the existing abandoned motel into 118 studio apartments and 8 one-bedroom apartments, and has already submitted a commercial building permit in the past. The property has been a reported homeless encampment in the past and is currently on Glenn County's condemnation list. The developer owns an adjoining 1.4-acre parcel to the east, but its prospect for use as a parking area is limited due to a 225-foot wide Georgia Power easement over it and a existing GDOT drainage canal running through the lot. This is a zoning map showing that the property's in HR zoning, which means it no longer can be used as a hotel, but it can be used for multifamily, which is the intended use. This is a survey of the property and the 1.4-acre lot that the company owns. The hardship, as stated in their application, is there's not enough developable land on the lot. The property is in full compliance with building height, setbacks, pervious area, land, density, et cetera, criteria per code. We only need help with the parking count. Also note the power lines above prevent parking development and creek in between prevent connection with vacant land. This is an aerial of the property. You can see the current property to the left. The current J-shaped lot to the right is the other piece of property that they own. The green lines are the Georgia Power easement, and the green area running through the lot is the GDOT drainage canal. This is from their building permit application. This shows what a typical studio unit would look like in the building. This shows what a typical one-bedroom unit would look like. And the county is recommending approval as presented.
Okay. All right. Anyone got any questions for staff?
How many hotel rooms were in the, was that, I'm assuming the 126 parking places were adequate for the hotel that was there?
Yes, no, they were. The parking spaces were adequate for the hotel that was there.
And there, I mean, how many rooms was at the hotel that there was there?
There are 135 rooms, so that would have been more than enough parking for 135 rooms.
So 135 hotel rooms require less parking than,
Oh, no, sorry, I mean, this building was built in 1974.
yes, sir.
So the parking requirements may have been different back then. Excuse
Okay.
me.
That's all my question.
Could you help me understand, can you go to that slide with the, showing the park with the easement, the power lines?
Yes.
Yeah. That bottom blue purplish arrow, the big arrow,
Yes.
as it's pointing to the dotted, I'm guessing the dotted lines are the power lines?
Yes, that's the
Okay.
boundaries of the
It's
power
an
line
easement, not a
easement.
power line.
The easement. So as I look at it, easement. As I look on that arrow, all that area right there, it's got 655 up in the right corner there. What is that, and why could that not be used for overflow parking?
Which area is that you're
That's in the-
pointing? Oh,
That's in the easement, the green lines are.
That whole bottom of the J, the square, you said it was J square, or J kind of property, that big bottom, the bottom
Yeah.
part of it. Where that whole big arrow, that blue arrow is coming in on the
yes,
angle.
I understand now what you're
All
talking
that
about.
brown right there.
In order to do something like parking within that easement, you have to get permission from Georgia Power, and the property owner has said that he's met with Georgia Power, and they said no.
There's already parking from the hotel there.
That's right, this hotel was built in 1974, so Georgia Power back then may have made different calculations.
Is that in our packet?
What's
Is that
that?
in our, I didn't see that in the packet. That the Georgia Power turned them down.
Oh, yeah, no, the property owner can speak to that, if the question's for him.
Why, another question, since the drainage ditch creek, I don't know how wide that is, what the situation is. As I've seen in many other places in those kind of situations, has it ever been considered to just, if you're making it into a real nice residential area, to put a nice little bridge right over that onto your property? And so that's your overflow parking over on that? There's no, right here.
From that green line to that green line.
That's the
all-
whole,
that's all.
so that whole J, oh.
Yeah, no, the problem is, yes,
Oh,
the
my
adjoining 1.4 acre parcel land is
Okay.
entirely within
Thank
that
you, all
easement,
right.
yeah, that's the
Whoa.
problem.
Whoa, okay. I didn't pick up that other green.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nothing can go in the easement,
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Got it.
not even concrete on the ground.
Got it.
Tomato plant.
Whoa.
All right, any other questions for staff? Okay, all right, can we hear from the applicant, please?
Thank you, board members. My name is Mark Makwana. You did pronounce it correctly, sir. And I would like to start by thanking all of you gentlemen for taking the time today to review this application, as well as thanking the staff. They have been very diligent and very guiding. I'm here to answer any questions you gentlemen have.
Okay.
I don't have a question, I do have a comment. Thank you for trying to clean up this place.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
beautiful, sir. I handle a lot of variance and city applications for my company. What I see here is what you guys have done with this courthouse, reusing and keeping those beautiful trees outside and using additional land to build a new courthouse rather than demolishing this and demolishing the trees. We've always liked, I'm from Midwest and I've always liked smaller cities. People are more close to what the true spirit is of, community. It's beautiful out here, just outside. I was just admiring the trees.
It is that.
So there can be no building, Georgia Power say no building in the easement. That's what you
Yes,
said.
sir. We really tried. In fact, we went to the main person with Georgia Power who handles, there is a designated officer in utility who handles everything related to land, like quitclaim deeds, because this is a big deal for utility companies. Not only they will not allow to put any parking, they will not even allow to put our underground sprinkler vault. They're saying that if you have an underground sprinkler vault and you need to do a maintenance or inspection or something, and it's exact same time, we also need to do maintenance. This is main arterial line for a lot of big residential and industrial areas. We can't have any obstruction in our industrial, in our easement. More so ever, as you can see, there is existing easement on our existing parking. Because the parking is existing, they cannot have us remove it. But we are planning to add stairs, and they won't even allow a stairs 20 feet away from the easement. So we had to relocate the stairs, which we did in our building plans. So they're very, yes, sir.
So would you assign, since the parking's gonna be so tight, would you assign a space to each unit? Is that the way you do it?
The sign?
Would you assign a space, yeah,
Would there be a designated spot for each unit?
Yes, you can designate each spot, and we have done a couple of these projects, and we have seen the need that at least 25%, 30% of our residents, they don't own a vehicle.
Where are those located at? The other
parking lot.
No, where are the other facilities that you've determined
So we did-
35% of your, in Brunswick?
Yes, sir. We have two facilities we finished in Roman, Georgia. We have another one in Ringgold, Georgia. We submitted the before and after presentation set to the staff. Is it available to show?
Yeah, I've got it in the packet. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Maurice said it's in the package. We have taken dead buildings and converted them to a nicer mid-scale to upscale type loft-style apartments. The only downside is the size of the unit is a little bit smaller. But if that is the only problem that a lot of tenants don't mind, they go through background check, leasing, income verification, you end up with a very nice building and a nice community.
And you say 30%, you find that 30%, 25
Yes.
to 30% do not own vehicles? Is that-
Correct, yes, sir.
And so if every unit is full with one car, that means you got,
Then we have enough.
10
We have one
spaces.
parking spot for every unit plus 10% extra. We do have that much, sir.
10%.
10% extra, so effectively there's
See, the
a
extra
40% buffer in parking
Correct.
based on the numbers, so.
Yes, sir.
You know, anybody else got any?
No way to squeeze a couple more parking places out.
If there is any way, we're more than happy to do it. We have our civil engineer really do it. If building department suggests that, hey, add couple of parking here, we're more than happy to oblige. We don't want to break any other rule by doing that, by like setbacks or any other, developmental code. So staying within the code, our site plan developer, civil engineer person did maximum parking that is there. But if somebody can show us that, hey, we would recommend you add some parking here, we'll be more than happy to do it, sir.
All right. Anybody else got anything else for the applicant?
No.
Okay. All right. Mr. Farnsworth?
John Farnsworth, Building Department. Just as an aside, how many of the units are going to be one-bedroom units? 8. And so those 2 units that are combined into a one-bedroom unit, now constitute one unit.
Yes, less.
Is it possible to increase the number of your one-bedroom units to decrease the number of needed parking spaces?
Yes and no.
That's all I need.
If we increase the number of one-bedroom unit, then what happens is you decrease the total number of dwellings. When you reduce the total number of dwellings, the end goal of the project that the project is trying to satisfy is trying to meet the tenants, because the one-bedroom units sold are rented about $100 or $150 more per month. The studio units go between $699 and $749 per month rent. One-bedroom units go higher. The kind of clientele we service is, let's say there is a senior couple whose house is in such a bad shape and they can't afford renovation, they just want to sell it and they just want to live in a community where they get a pool, they get a gym, they get everything new. This apartment gets stone top, quartz top, like we have done other projects and we have provided pictures to the staff, which is in your package. You get real quartz top stones, real plywood cabinets, you get amenities in the apartments. The cost goes up for per month and it doesn't serve the kind of people. Then the industrial people take over, like Amazon or FedEx, their work, but they can already afford expensive hotels. That's not the clientele, so it would not serve the end goal as nicely, sir.
So you looking for long-term clients instead of, it's not a daily rental, it's a long-term, monthly?
Absolutely, sir. There is a minimum 6-month lease, maximum 14-month, background check, income verification, there is a leasing office, just traditional. So instead of a hotel where people can just show an ID, put some cash deposit with or without credit card and just rent a room, this is a commitment with ID verification, income verification, background check, and it just makes things much easier for everybody.
Okay.
And I know this this doesn't really fall in our purview, but at the same time, it would sway my decision. What's your frequency of police visits to your other facilities?
We have seen from hotel to apartment conversion over 95% reduction.
Okay. All right. Anybody else got anything? AJ, you got anything?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right. I'll open the floor for the public comment section. Anyone here for or against? Okay. Hearing none, seeing none, we'll close that section. I will open the floor or open the board for discussion and or a motion.
If there's no discussion, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve ZV-25-12 3030 Scarlett Street as presented.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. Got a second? All right, all those in favor? Opposed? All right, motion
You were
passes.
opposed or for it? You had your hand up at opposed.
No.
Well, I knew it was, but I just was clarifying.
Yep, so
I didn't get
motion
it
passes.
down in time. How about that?
All right, any new business?
The only announcement we have is that the applicant for ZV 25-374 Wildlife Preserve, which you denied 5-0 at the April meeting, is appealed to the Board of Commissioners, and that public hearing is next Thursday, May 15th at 6 p.m. if any of you'd like to show up there.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other new business from? All right, hearing none.
You said 6:15, right?
June 15th.
Well, the meeting's at 6.
Okay.
May 15th.
Okay, all right, we will officially adjourn.